Good afternoon and welcome to John Seeking's channel for running and football, championship football. Today, or at least at this point in time, I've just done a bit on the championship games today. It's all about running. It's all about my dear old half marathon training. Not been on for a while. I've been testing out a few bits of the Garmin watch that I got in January and trying a few different things, a few different topics that I've heard online. I want to go through a few. I'm not going to go through the the run walk run as much. I'm quickly going to say I've tried various types of this, both short and long. And certain other channels or channel on here suggests that really you have to have a decent walk period before you start setting off again. And I tried a really good. I tried actually 4 miles, 3 mile run, and then a sprint at the end of the third mile, and then a 1 mile walk. The only trouble is, I don't know about anybody else, but I got to the first couple of 100 yards of that 1 mile walk. No, it has to be a slow jog. I can't do a walk. It's just not me. And it didn't improve. It didn't improve obviously over the next couple of miles before you start trying to do a second walk. And I remember getting back and thinking, oh, it's going to be a dreadful time. I mean, how much time did I lose walking that mile? I must have lost a good 10 minutes, But because I jogged, the jog must have been what? The jog must have been at around 10-minute miles, so 10, 11-minute miles. So it wasn't actually too bad. And I actually came back with a sort of, it was about half a minute, about 20 seconds per mile quicker over a 7 or 8 mile run. 9-mile run, I think it was. So it was oddly proving that it did work, doing a long slowdown. But I've done short ones. And equally, because my heart rate, I recover extremely well. I only have to walk 10, 20 paces, and my heart rate seems to just, on the graph, you see, it just plummets straight down to the bottom again. And it doesn't just jump straight back up. It goes up quite quickly, but it doesn't just rocket straight back where it came from. So I do actually, over the short term, make quite a bit of a decent improvement. I can feel better. I feel faster. I am faster. And over certainly, if you just run, keeping it the short distance, if you run 100, I found that my heart was, it had probably been down at a nice steady, certainly under 100 beats for quite a while. And then you start setting off again at your sort of, in my case, sort of 8 minutes, 7:50 per mile. And you're thinking, yeah, I'm close to home. I'm running around here. That's where it was. I've no problem in running a minute faster than my sort of general slow pace. And it too made an improvement. You could see how the mile afterwards, when I'd start from the start point, when you finish the walk, it actually went quite well. And you can see how you're probably saving seconds, tens of seconds in that next mile. And if you're saving tens of seconds, if you're only if you're only slowing down for, 200 yards, you can actually do that quite nicely, and it's sort of almost evens out, and you can see how um, you actually feel better at the end when you start go. The only difference then is not time, because you almost even out. I almost evened out, and I'm really good at recuperating in that walk. And but the feeling when you start going again, if you put that in a 9 mile and you suddenly just do a quick little bit of a sprint and then stop and do a walk for 200 yards and then run off again, I was actually feeling so much better. I mean, I was feeling it, mentally, physically more alert, more ready for that next mile. And because it was a quicker mile than just before I slowed down, you actually mentally felt really good about it, and you felt ready for those next few miles, and it was really good. So I would suggest trying it. Um, it's not so stupid um, an idea, because if you can get your heart rate down, you can actually not just be better in that next bit when you start going again, but you're mentally better because you feel so much more alert and alive. And I enjoyed that. I think the Pace Pro is. I've got a bit of a cold, so I do apologise for the cough. The Pace Pro, I do like the Pace Pro. I like the fact that you can change the figures in there. So if you're going on a run and you know that there's a hill, and it's easy to run up or hard to run up, you can actually alter it to what you can do. Um, it doesn't have re-average the Pace Pro data though, but that's a minor thing. You can do that by hand. You have to do that by hand then. So add 20 seconds here, take 20 seconds somewhere else. That's the only downside, but it's a good thing to use. I've been using the for since the wife died in April. I've been using the half marathon training on the Garmin app, and it's phenomenally off-putting is probably the best word. Someone actually put on Facebook. Somebody put a comment in. Oh, I've been doing this training. It's asking me to do 12-minute miles, but I'm used to like 9 minutes 30. Why is he asking me to do 12-minute miles? I can't do 12-minute miles. And and I know the feeling. When I first started in January, I said, well, I want to do at least 2 hours for the half marathon, because I did 2 hours 6, my worst ever last year. And I remember thinking, oh, for heaven's sake, what's he asking me to do? 2 hours, 50-minute run at 12 minutes per mile? You are joking. And it's giving you a nice slot and thinking, right, I've got to do about 12-minute. This is incredible. It's just above a fast walk. For me anyway. So you're sort of like fast walking, but just a little bit quicker. It's in that gap where I just couldn't bloody do it. It's like, no, this is ridiculous. I can't do this. I want to. A trot is faster than this 12-minute mile. So it's like, don't even think about it, guys. It does get very annoying. I think it must be on an algorithm that basically starts to skew when you get to 12, when you get to like 2 hours. So the slower guys amongst us, as I was at that point in time in January, it says, oh yeah, you got a 12-minute miles, or at best it gives you 10.5 minutes, and you're thinking, oh god, 10.5 minute yeah, it's a bit of a slow trot. I can just about do it, but it's bloody difficult. And just about do that. The 12 minutes is almost impossible. The 10 minutes is, yeah, sort of doable, but not really. It's more doable after sort of like a 10, 11, 12 mile hard run, and then I can sort of do the 10 miles then nice and easy. But it tends to be quite, I'd say quite skew if you're a slower runner. I would say that it's not the most ideal of running speeds for its easy run or its main base runs. Its base run and easy run are so slow if you're a beginner that it's not. I don't think it really. I'm thinking of the right words. Does it improve you? I mean, it probably does. It's probably getting you to that point where your body gets used to the length of runs. So let's do a 12-minute fast walk for an hour, and then when we get you doing a quicker run, a sort of if you're doing 2 hours, for instance, it might get you doing a run at the race pace and give you 9 minutes 44. So you're running 9 minutes 44, which is then a doable improve. It's a doable, nice fast run for you because you are a slower runner. 9:44 is probably it's good at the beginning, easy to do at the beginning, but once you've got an hour into it, you're then thinking this is actually getting quite difficult. So I can see where the 10 and 12 minutes come from, and I can see why they're there. They do work, guys, but they're bloody difficult to maintain at that beginner pace. So if you go back to where I am now, which is, and you've got to remember, an easy run for me was probably around 10-minute miles. My race pace ended up at being 9:44. Since April, I've gone from that to being my easy pace now is 9 minutes per mile. My race pace is getting towards. I'd say at the minute it's trying to push me towards towards a 1:44 finish. That's what I've set it at, and that's like 7 minutes 56 per mile. So roughly 8 minutes per mile, a minute quicker than me easy pace. And the easy pace is actually quite doable. The easy pace for the case of the training is actually, I think it's 8:56 to 9:56. So it's anything with a 9-minute in front of it. So it's telling you that you should be running about 9 minutes 50 per mile for the whole. I should be running 9 minutes 50 a mile easily. I'm actually running nearer to 9 minutes per mile easier. So it does work because it has taken a good minute per mile off that easy pace, and it really is easy, as easy as the 10-minute mile was back in January. So it does work. I'd say stick with it. But instead of using the day-to-day suggestions from the watch, because they'll probably pick up on the fact that that's the pace you're doing and keep giving you the same pace. Certainly for the first January, February, March, April, for the first 4 months, that's what it did with me. It just kept giving me the 12-mile run, 12-minute mile runs and the 10-minute mile fast runs. And you're thinking, no, it's not a fast run, and that's not a pace run. Go away. Coming off of that and doing a training plan. even if you haven't got a race that you're doing, pull up one, make a date up 20 weeks in advance, 20 weeks away, and say, look, I want a 20 weeks training plan. I'd like to be able to do 10K. I'd like to be able to do a half a marathon or a full marathon, and just put it in there and just follow it, because they're really good. They adapt, and they adapt really quickly if you start doing really well. Uh, now, I'm a sprinter. I am a sprinter. I can do. I did the 1 minute chunks this week that we're doing, and I managed to do sort of 1 minute at 4 minutes 12 per mile. God knows how, because I actually had a bad leg. I was actually running. My right thigh started twinging, only on a 1 out of 10 basis, but it made me hop a little bit rather than run. And two of the segments I did 4 minutes 12 in, and it's like, how have you managed to do that? Oh, with a bad leg. I find the sprints rather difficult. And I want to answer a couple of the people that have been on Facebook. How the hell are you supposed to do 30 a good hit rate? Because it gives you a hit rate at the end on how well you did. And you're trying to get sort of 18, 19, so somewhere between 60 and 90% efficiency on it. And so you go out and it gives you a 30-second runner at 7 minutes per mile, which is what it's been giving me. 6 30-second runs at 7 minutes per mile, or 12. I think today, this week, it was 12 1-minute sprints at 7 minutes per mile. But if you've noticed it, you get a 30-second sprint. If you set off as it says start, it immediately says what you did in the last section, your warm-up section. And then it says your present speed is 20 minutes per mile. Well, you're not, you're sprinting. 15 seconds in, it will then say your current speed is, and then you have to adjust it, because you're either going too fast or too slow, or but the chances of you actually hitting it spot on first time, especially for someone who's not really good at getting it spot on first time, is really difficult. If you're not doing loads and loads of sprinting and you know exactly that pace, which is only going to be done by a professional, not a fly around. So if you're not a professional or you're not a trainer, you're not going to hit it within that 15-second gap it gives you per mile. Not at all. Yeah. So if it tells you something like 6:55 to 7:10 per mile, and you're thinking, I can't hit that. Not just guessing how fast the feet are running. So 15 seconds into the 30-second, you can try and adjust it. And then right near the end, you can then keep looking at your watch, which slows you down a bit. Or you're listening to it to tell you that you're going too slow, but by then you've gone past your half minute. So you look at your watch, because now it's updating it. And all of a sudden, like 20 seconds in, slow down a bit. 25 seconds in, speed up. Okay, I'm on now. So you get about 5-10 seconds of running at the right speed, assuming that you can get to that speed. So even if you can get to the speed, you probably only get 10 seconds out of that 30-second sprint, which sort of means that if you get a 10-second, your maximum efficiency is going to be like 33%. And it's only improved if they give you this, oh, do an easy run first for an hour. Sometimes it does that, and you can sit in that easy run. You can do 98% in that easy run, and the sprints then will just knock hell out of it and reduce it from 98% down to about 82. This is not that much running in the sprint. It's just, and you've got a nice hour-long run. Well, it's not usually an hour. It's usually 15 minutes run before. So I don't like it because you then look at the figures afterwards. You've done really badly at this sprint. It shows you how badly you've done. Shows you the lines of each sprint, or the 6 sprints, in a nice light blue line. And you go and do it. You have a look at it on Connect, and the app just shows you that you were absolutely ridiculously too fast or ridiculously too slow, and how well you did to try and sort of pull back up to the right speed. And most people find that they do get there, but just too damn late. And there is a way of making it a little bit easier, and I've timed it. So if, when you see the timings going down, so you're going for your sprint, as long as it's not I missed the lap button to start the sprint day before yesterday. But most time it doesn't ask for a lap button, it just tells you sprint. And you see it counting down the warm-up. So you're doing the warm-up, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and it's counting you down in seconds. When you get to 6, turn in the right direction, sprint. Because by the time you've got from 5, and 5 seems to be the key figure, just above 5. So 5 point something seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last lap, so many minutes per mile. Current speed, 6 minutes 30. I need to slow down. But it's telling you then, within about, well, how long does it take you to? It takes 10 seconds, because I remember looking at the watch. So it takes 10 seconds to say this first thing, which is why, it's a third of the time. So if you're doing 30 seconds, at least within 10 seconds, you've got this. Your current speed is. Not only that, but while it's saying it, you can actually look at your watch, and it will have updated it. And just as you look at your watch, so 5, 6 seconds in, you can actually see how fast you're doing. So it is the bar on the top gives you whether you're fast or slow, and you can adjust it. I'd say you can adjust your speed within 10 seconds. So you at least have a chance of hitting that reset pace, speed up or slow down within 10 seconds. Whereas before, if you just run from the start when it says go, you can't start adjusting until about 15 seconds in, which means, and a lot of people have been complaining, well, I can't hit it's only 15 seconds. It doesn't readjust me speed for 15 seconds. No, it doesn't. So run 5 seconds earlier, and somehow the change of lap means that it resets itself and restarts. Well, it'll reset itself at the start of the lap, you see. So it's, as you go over the lap, it's now you're actually going the right speed as you go over the lap. Whereas it starts and it goes, oh, he's still walking. Yeah, at that very microsecond, it says 0, you're actually still walking. You're just about to sprint. And I think I have actually tried doing it sprinting 3 seconds before, and it still only took the slower time, the walking time from the recovery bit. So somewhere in there, there's a skewed where it takes the start pace from. And it's not from the dead point that you start, that it says 0, boom, go. It looks like it's a few seconds before. Or it's either that or it's all to do with how it's taking the speed measurement in a certain number of seconds, not constantly. And if you're in that gap somewhere, it will be a few seconds before it does another look. That would be a good reason to qualify the 5 seconds before, and then just 5.2 seconds before seems to cover nearly every time. Well, but yeah, 5.2 seconds is every time. I'd say 5 seconds is 9 times out of 10. You'll get a good time as soon as you start the actual 1, 0, go. So for the sprints, 5 seconds before, 5.2 if you really want to be accurate. It seems to give you a good ability to run and actually get that sprint in from the start, and actually change it so you can actually get a better look. I mean, I've done that every time now, and then I've looked at it, and those little square blocks, you can see the line going up towards the start of the sprint session, and you can see where I've I've gone a bit too quick, slow down, and it wobbling around the blue line for a reasonable amount of time. And because of that, I get semi-decent correlation. It's only 15-second gap, though, where it gives you. Dear me. So you do have to watch for it, because you can look at that graph and it looks brilliant. And I've had it give me like 26%, 28%, or 32%. You look at it and think, that's bloody good for me. That's not 28%. Look at it. That's not near a quarter. That's actually bloody bouncing around the blue line. Once I couldn't even see the actual speed line verging away from the blue line, and it still said I'd only done about 32%. So you're 16 seconds too fast, 16 seconds too slow. Sorry, you're outside that 15-second gap by 1 second. You're out of it, and it puts you out of it, and it can get a bit annoying, that. So I think the complaint I would have with that is that it's very difficult to hit that 15-second, and even if you get within like 1 second of that, your efficiency is out. You've lost it. 1 second out is as bad as 20 seconds out. So yes, I have tried when I got really, really tired. It gave me 12 1-minute sprints, and I was on 11% efficiency. I just couldn't do it. By the 8th, 9th, I think not probably earlier than that, 7th, by about the 7th minute, the 7th set of sprints, I was absolutely knackered. But because it's a minute long, what I found is you can actually walk the first 30 seconds and think, I'm just going to do a 30-second sprint. So walk the first 30 and then just sprint like hell at the right point, slightly downhill, boom. And at least you get a little bit of time in that gap, and you can push that percentage up a little bit. But it's phenomenally difficult to hit that gap sometimes. Definitely. I want to say something else on that sprint. I can't remember what it was. It's I'd just make sure that you're doing it 5 seconds, that little bit before. And if it is a longer run, like a minute one, and you're going to get tired after the 7th, 8th, please, just try it try halving it. It'll tell you how good you did. You'll be able to see on the graph afterwards. Do a 30-second run instead of a minute. It gives you a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and carry on walking, and then do a sprint or sprint, 3, 2, 1 sprint for 30 seconds, and then no, that's it. I've had enough. I mean, I think that's what I did last time. 30-second sprint, and then I gave an extra 30 seconds into the cool down. Where it says or walk, please, if you can walk and it's better for you, then do it. What else have I found in this training? I think the videos are actually really good. The videos are really good. Can we go contentious? Shall we go contentious for a second? And we'll go contentious, and we'll start talking about overstriding, because I actually fully agree with the Garmin Connect app's videos. Overstriding, no, bad idea, because as your foot goes forward, because it's ahead of you, your body's the centrifugal, the center force of your body is actually going downwards, because it's going into the ground through the angle of your leg. So whether your foot hits, and yes, some people can hit toe first or flat or heel first, even if they're overstretching. I agree. They're quite correct. You get some people who've got really odd landing action. Doesn't matter. Forward too long, your legs at a lower angle because it's reaching forward. It's certainly not hitting down, and it's slicing the energy. The energy is actually going into the ground. I apologize. What you need to do is, what you're wanting it to do is the energy to bounce forward or to be deflected by the ankle, so that you're almost sort of doing a little bit of a bounce, and that momentum is actually being rippled forward. If you overstride, most of the energy is going straight into the ground through the friction between the shoe, whether it be the toe, the flat of the shoe, or the heel of the running shoe, and straight into the ground. And you lose momentum. Absolutely. A lot of people on here have been saying, no, you have to land flat-footed. Interesting thought. And your center of gravity has to be above where your foot lands. I agree. If your foot is as near center of gravity as possible, that is best. Center of gravity can be behind. And I tell you for why, because if you follow the center of gravity as a point, right, so that's the center of gravity. If you're landing with your foot, your center of gravity over the point where your foot lands, it's really there's minimal movement of the center of gravity, because you're moving your feet that quickly that your center of gravity is always directly above the point of contact with the ground. So it really doesn't move a great deal. And you'd expect to land on the flat of your foot. Because your body's natural effect is to land on its foot. I'm going to go to discuss the further forward attitude, because most people say, you shouldn't be anywhere near further forward, and it should always land on your flat of your foot. What is the sound of, what's the bang that you're hearing when you hear the flat of your foot hit the floor? It's loss of energy. If you hear your foot go bang, you have lost energy, because physical movement energy has now turned into sound energy. And a certain shockwave has gone straight into the floor. because that's where your foot's landed. Bang, straight on the floor. So you've got two lots of energy being dispersed. The sound energy, which you hear, and the slapping pushes energy straight into the ground. Even if you're quickly going onto your toe and pushing forward, rotating your ankle and sending the energy slightly forward. So you do lose more energy if you hit your foot slap on the foot on the plate of your foot. If you hit by your ankle, by your ankle and your heel, it's a there's more energy per square centimeter. I agree, but what tends to happen then is you naturally take it forward, which means your foot naturally deflects the energy forward. If you actually took an image of the shoe when it hits the floor, you'd see the rubber actually squeeze backwards, and the shoe goes forward just a few millimeters. As football starting, and and as it hits and squeezes, that's actually the energy, your body mass energy, able to push forward. And if you rotate the foot at that point in time, you're deflecting the energy straight forward. Absolutely. Straight onto the toes, straight out again. I'm not a fan of toe hopping. I've seen people go far too high. Somebody had about she must have had she ran past the house. She must have had a 180, 170 cadence, but she was bunny hopping, and she was hitting the ground with her toes under center of gravity, and then bouncing upwards. And hitting it with your toes does tend to push you upwards more than what you need to do, unless, and I say in correlation with the Garmin Connect app, it actually can be not much that different from landing on your foot or your heel, because if you actually if you use that toe action to push forward instead of upwards, then you are actually deflecting the energy. It's just, and you're just sort of, it's just a lot of toe. You've got a lot of energy being used in your toes. Like if you're going your heel, a lot of the energy gets used up in your bones. So toes, yeah, you can do, and it helps you push forward, but you're going to really hurt your foot. Heel, I love heel landing, but you got to have good shoes, and you are very likely to hurt your calf and your knee joint. So that's why they say it's better to land on your flat foot, because it's less likely to hurt your body. However, efficiency-wise, it's going to take a little bit less, a little bit more energy from you, and a little bit less of the deflecting of energy, unless you really do slap push. So professionals, they can get that absolutely spot on, slap, so they don't injure themselves by a toe or a heel action. And it's good for them because they go bang, push. So they can almost take that energy and slide it straight forward. Whereas non-professionals like me and probably you have we spend more time on the ground. Not good, but that extra millisecond on the ground means that flat foot just disperses energy, sound energy and physical energy, more than what we really need to be doing. So it's a very contentious issue. What I would say for professionals is, yes, professionals land on your flat of your foot because it's less likely to cause you injury, and you're quite able to turn that into a quick push forward. They should also be, if you're a professional, slightly further forward than your center of gravity, so that you can actually pull that foot back and push forward. You're rotating it and you're bouncing the energy forward. Under your body is good. I did a bit of testing of that in this week, and are phenomenally quicker. And I mean phenomenally quicker, keeping the center of gravity underneath me and speeding up the legs. But keeping that 180 cadence is actually key to having that foot action directly below the center of gravity. Getting a good cadence is key to it then, because then you're trying to quickly keep the foot under your body. And if you're going a good speed, you're going to have to do 180 plus cadence. And if, like me, you're not at the peak of your game, you ain't going to do it. So it's okay. People say keep your center of gravity directly above your foot, but we haven't got the ability, people like me, to keep 180 cadence for, in my case, the full half marathon. So I need to be able to lengthen the stride. I need to be able to put the foot just far enough forward for me to be able to deflect the energy of it. I'm going to lose a bit, as I hit with my heel. I hit with my heel. So some of that energy is going to go into the ground. But I'm minimizing it by rotating the foot. And then I just go skimming forward. So I would say if you're a professional, yeah, great. It's keeping it below you is a great idea. Get that cadence motoring, really do. It works absolutely phenomenally. I've tried it and it really did. That's the one where my calf, my thigh started hurting. And I'm basically on 1.5 legs as far as energy's like concerned. And I was two of those 1 minute sprints. I was doing 4 minutes 12 per mile for at least like 30 seconds of it. And you're thinking, that's ridiculous, because I'm keeping it extremely short paces because I need to be able to get it was actually a cadence one. I needed to do 220 to 230 strides per minute. So I was doing 220 to 230, trying to get those four strides per second. And of course, that meant that I was doing really short delivery of strides because I got a bad leg. And seeing the speed was like, I wouldn't do that even if I was doing my usual 1.06 meters per stride. Absolutely not. I just wouldn't get 4 minutes 12 seconds. At best, with that sort of stride length, I'd be getting 5 minutes. I think I get about 5 minutes 4 at the fastest. So it's improved by almost a minute per mile. Obviously, don't do a mile because I'm not that good yet, but I never will be. I'm too old. But yeah, it is interesting. Yeah. As a starter, I'd say you're not likely to be able to keep it going for that long. But as you start to get more confident at doing whatever length of race you're doing or training for, yeah, foot over your center of gravity, or your gravity over your foot, increase the cadence. Absolutely phenomenal. 1 minute in, down from a maximum of 5 minutes 4 per mile down to 4 minutes 12 with a bad leg. And I think this is what I do, and this is why I do this, guys. It's so that I can try and put these little snippets out, and I usually get 1 or 2 people read, look through them, and hopefully the 1 or 2 people who read it will say, I'll say, he actually tries it. This guy tries it. He doesn't just say, "Oh, this is what I was. I'm a trainer, and I've been training for 15 years, and I know the best way of doing it. It's this. I actually look at these guys who say that, and I try it, and then I put the truth forward to you. The actual look, an old guy like me, not that fit yet. Um, this is what it was like when I was absolutely unfit. This is what it's like now when I'm sort of middle of the road. And going forward, this is what I'm going to be like. Hopefully, I'll be saying this is what it's like now that I'm really fit. um, not likely to be, because I've got a problem with my lungs, as you've heard, since I had meningitis when I was 40. And that's going to bring me to my last point, which is going to be breathing. I am determined to do one on breathing. Absolutely going to do one on breathing. Hopefully, in the next week, 2 week, when I get over this chest infection, another one, I will be doing a few runs and trying a few different breathing techniques, seeing whether any of them actually make an iota of difference. I am expecting to make a difference. I want to know which way round it works for me. And then I'll be putting the actual facts as far as my body is concerned to you. And hopefully you'll be going away and thinking, "Oh, I can use that. I might try that in my run." Good luck, guys. Keep on motoring. Do remember, you get a niggle, measure it out of 10. If it's a 3, if it's above a 3, don't continue. Stop. You're going to do yourself more damage than you will carrying on. I only continued with that niggle in my thigh because it was a twinge. It was a 1 out of 10. And I knew what to do to try and just not put too much pressure on it during the training, yet still get as much out of that training as I could. Did relatively well, percentage wise, efficiency wise, and actually, yeah, it's not damaged it at the minute. I'm busy trying to think about the long run I should be doing later. I'll do a quick run beforehand, as you should do. Measure it out of 10. If I believe I can go for a longer run, I'll then extend it to a longer run. But if I score it over 3, please don't hurt yourself. It's not worth it in the long run. Thank you. See you again with a breathing one. Goodbye.